one of my favorite memories of Horizon Zero Dawn, and hopefully for everybody in chat, hopefully I sound better now. For whatever reason, it was picking up a mic that doesn't exist anymore. I hadn't changed any of my settings, so I don't understand that. But
Phantom mic.
one of my favorite memories from Horizon Zero Dawn is you're looking at one of those holographic video recordings of kind of what happened leading up to, I guess, the apocalypse, the state of the world as it exists. And it was that guy, Pharaoh, shooting all of his like, I can't remember exactly who they were to him, but they were colleagues of his.
They were like the people that were they were like people that were in charge of like various aspects of the project. So like they were the heads of the project.
Right.
And each little division.
And he shot them all. And that was so incredibly fucking chilling to me.
I thought they got locked in a room and got like...
Yeah, they got locked in a room and gassed.
Yeah, they didn't get shot, they got gassed.
Oh, no, gassed them. That's right, he gassed them. That's right.
Well, like he opened it up and like the plague came
right,
in
that's what it was. That's what
it was. All that stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't shoot them.
I don't know why I thought he shot them, but
Ted Pharaoh's a piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck him.
And also,
even worse,
he seems
worse
extremely plausible for. Yeah, he seems like extremely plausible for the world that we're in right now too, which is even more upsetting.
He's a slightly worse version of Elon Musk.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's sad about video games. Like you go back and you play these video games, and it's sad that they relate to our current day. Like, it's crazy to think that when these games released, or even a few years ago, like we would have never considered that something like this was plausible, which is why you enjoy things like that, because it's a fantasy setting. And now it's like you're taking all of these scenarios and situations, and you can actually apply it to your real life situation. Fucking depressing.
I mean, there is one lore thing I found that was just about how different places were dealing with climate refugees, and stuff like that. And there's
deciding
another one
who gets to live and who gets to die.
Yeah, and also like counselors dealing with, it's like there's like instructions for counselors for like how they're going to proceed, because some people might not want to live after getting some of the information and stuff. And it's like that stuff hits really hard, and I don't think and as much as I loved that game when I first played it, I don't think I fully appreciated that stuff till now. So
no,
I love that game. I'm really, really excited for the next one.
What got to me was the entire basis of Zero Dawn, the project, was meant to be one that covers up the reality of the inevitable extinction of the species, and that performance that was put on that, we can fight back, but all of it was a farce. All of it was recognition that that's the end of humanity. But they're going to put up a sort of weird front, and that Zero Dawn was actually about restarting everything from scratch, because there was no hope. There was no way that the inevitable annihilation of the species was going to occur. By virtue of the sort of self-reproducing, robots.
The thing that's so cool about that story is like it simultaneously manages to be really bleak and really realistic in the background, but it still has a sense of optimism to it. It still has a sense of hope to it. And I think it's really just it's pretty amazing how they were able to balance that. And I really love the world.
Plus it's got robot dinosaurs. Like, let's not forget. Like the
explanation for why they have robot dinosaurs actually made me emotional.
I mean, but it doesn't matter, Justin. They're robot dinosaurs. That's all I need to know.
I want to hear what Justin has to say about robot dinosaurs.
Fine.
No, like the explanation is like the AI that was being trained, to do all the designs and stuff was learning about extinction events, and it got sad when it found out about like the loss of megafauna in these major extinctions. And it's like, I know it's not logical, but I really like these things, and why are they gone? And so it's like, that's why it's bringing them back, because it's bringing back something that it thought Earth lost, that it really loved. And like, like, and the fact that
while
they
they're
also,
trying to kill like the
Yeah.
people on Earth, they're like, "Oh, this is sad." Crunch, crunch, crunch.
I don't know. All
well,
I
that's
know
a
is
different
that
problem.
if I was cryogenically frozen and I woke up and like everything was grown over and there were huge robot dinosaurs everywhere, I'd be like, fucking sweet. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, until you get like eaten by one or something.
Yeah,
What
but
the
you know
fuck are
what, dude?
talking about?
Yeah, but you know what, dude? That's the kind of like a huge robotic T-Rex. Like, that's the kind of thing that could kill you, and your dying words would be so
Okay,
awesome.
I appreciate the humility there, because I was expecting you to say, yeah, I could fucking take that thing.
Oh no, absolutely not, dude. No, it's a fucking Robo.
Okay, there we go. You know,
dude, a fucking Robo Rex. Like, there's no
you
fucking.
say absolutely not. On this podcast, you said, yeah, I could take a gorilla. Like,
A
what the
gorilla
fuck
for
are you
sure.
talking
A gorilla for sure. I could absolutely take a gorilla.
Oh my
A
god.
robotic T-Rex though, or even a robotic gorilla. Like I could take a real gorilla, like a flesh and blood gorilla, but like a robot gorilla, I can't do that because.
Oh my
Can
God.
I talk about one thing that I really appreciate about Horizon and Aloy specifically is that she has a very good logical reason for being a lot more powerful than the military and literally anybody else in the universe, because she's essentially a clone of somebody who knew all like the ins and outs of all the dinosaurs and shit. So it's really, I think, almost brilliant that they combined that in, like they were able to add that into a character, and
They
it
found a way of
slowly.
doing. Yeah, they found a way of doing like a chosen one kind of story that actually made like logical sense.
Yeah, it made it
Like,
wasn't just a hero comes in and saves the day. It was like, you know,
Mm.
you find out you're this person who was really smart and essentially saved everybody almost.
well, it's literally just so that someone would exist to be able to gain access to stuff and fix the problems that had arisen. Like that's what it is. Like,
And that's why
it
that's
feels
why
very
so
logical.
that's why Pharaoh called it Sobek, right? That was the sort of original.
Yeah, something like that.
Elizabeth
Yeah.
Sobek, yeah. I mean, that was her whole thing.
Yeah.
She was the smartest and best placed, and her conclusion was, yeah, there's no saviors. That's the end. That's the end of the
Like
species.
we can't. Like all
let's
we
be
can do
fair.
is just try to preserve the future.
Exactly.
She tried and a man stopped her. All right.
Of
She
course.
tried and a man fucking shot her down. And
A
it all
man- a
came on
man-
her to
Yes, a man trying to get a woman to clean up his mess.
right.
Well, I don't want
Listen, in his defense, he dropped like the 20 lawsuits he had against her when he invited her to come help.
I don't want to.
He's really kind at heart.
All right. Well, I don't want to spend too long on Horizon Zero Dawn, but I do want to real quick. What I've been playing. I've been playing Tales of Arise. Excellent game, gorgeous fucking game. I'm generally not a Tales guy at all. I have never that particular JRPG franchise has never meshed with me. I've never liked the character designs. I've never liked the combat until now. Like there's nothing I don't. The only thing I don't like about Tales of Arise is that money is extremely hard to come by. So I never feel like I've got enough shit.
So classic RPG, just fucking stockpiling everything.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah,
shit in games.
Pretty. I never have enough shit in this fucking game, but I'll tell you what, it's a great fucking game. I'm really loving it. It is beautiful. It's like I had actually compared this game to the original Final Fantasy VII in the sense that I feel like this is Tales. This is the Tales of series like Final Fantasy VII moment. That moment where you have a game that is really well reviewed. It's the best reviewed game in the series, and it is opening up that particular franchise to an entire new audience. So yeah, I think Tales of Arise is their Final Fantasy VII moment. Go ahead. Is
the characterization very anime, like uwu? Like, do you have the
Not
stereotypical characters? Like,
I mean, you've got so your main character. I mean, your main character is like a JRPG anime protagonist, but the game, like there's like a teenage boy and a teenage girl, and she's not cringy at all. She's not. There's no ooh, like anywhere to be. In fact, the story is actually like pretty dark. It deals with like themes of like, you know, a lot of themes of slavery in the game, and, you know, fighting back against your oppressors, and like the whole game is you're a member of a race that's been enslaved for 300 years. You are basically fomenting rebellion across the world. It's pretty heavy stuff for a Tales game. And as far like, and in older Tales games, you had like, you know, like one of your characters, I think it was in Tales of Vesperia, one of your characters was like a fucking little girl. She was dressed as a pirate, like just super over the top, like anime shit. Like,
yeah, I tried to get into Tales of Vesperia, and I
couldn't do it.
For the life of me, could not.
I just could not do it either.
It just, yeah.
But I mean, for being like a very, like, you know, anime design JRPG, like there's not a lot, like there's none of these character designs are over the top. Like there's a guy wearing armor, there's a girl wearing armor, there's no like huge sexualization of these characters at all. Like, I mean, it's really cool. It's a really good fucking game. I'm having a blast with it.
Good.
Having a really good time. CJ, what are you playing?
What am I playing? What did I talk about last week? Bro, I had one of these after a month, and it's fucking me up. Anyway, I've been playing. I'm still wrapping up Life is Strange 2 for review.
Ooh.
Sorry, not Life is Strange 2, True Colors. Still the greatest game I played all year, hands down. I don't think anything will come close. I think like I said last week, same thing. Writing is great. The characters are some of the most complex and like real I've ever seen in a game since like Red Dead 2. Like there's this level of complexity and this attachment. Like I go to sleep thinking about choices I made and the things I said, and playing them back in my head thinking, did I do this right? The sort of like the way you can visualize, or the way it sort of physically like shows, I'm so sorry, the way you could like really see like the things they do and trying to show you like what empathy is, and the levels they go to and the depths they go to. It's unlike anything I've played in such a long time. You know, and I just got, you know, past like this really wonderful midpoint that made me happy, and it's just this whole thing, and then now I'm back to like this really dark and just depressing bit in the game that just it's something else. I genuinely
want to play it.
Oh, it's great. It really is.
Want to.
CJ, that funeral scene where they let off the lantern and all those colors burst out. So gorgeous.
Oh,
absolutely
God,
gorgeous. I finished it last night.
Oh my God, I'm almost done with it, but it's just it's very rare for me to play a game and just like kind of like this. This kind of game works for it. You don't have to like hold the controller all the time. You just kind of watch cutscenes.
I have a question for both of you. Does it tie into any of the previous games, or is it a standalone?
Completely standalone.
Completely.
Okay, good. Because I played the first Life is Strange. I didn't play the second one.
The only one it ties into is actually Before the Storm, because that's what Deck 9 made.
Mm-hmm.
And the only tie-in is with Steph, the character, but it's just that she was there. It's mainly the tie-in is just to solidify that it's in the same universe.
How overt are the supernatural themes in these games? Because I've never actually played them. Like,
John, you need to.
John, I've never played. Okay, John, you got to play. You skip to 2, and I haven't finished 2, but you got to play 2 if you truly want to understand what it's like to be young me. Growing up with, oh my God, that game fucked me up so badly. Nothing bad happened.
Yeah,
like nothing bad. Oh
too.
my God, the first 20 minutes, I was like bawling. I'm like, oh my God, this is wonderful, just wonderful. I saw my dad in the game. I saw my brothers in the game. Oh my God, 2, and I've written about that game and I still haven't finished it, but it's one of those things that's gonna stay with me for such a long time. So is True Colors. And as far as the supernatural stuff, I don't know how to say this without spoiling it in this game, because the supernatural stuff, it's like a weird like.
Well, they talked about it in the trailers. It's like she reacts to anger, right? Like emotions.
She's an empath, basically. Yeah. So she essentially feels what other people are feeling.
Yeah, they talked about showed that in the trailer.
But I wouldn't say it's supernatural. More like this is the way they're gonna like have you visualize it. This is the way they're gonna represent it in a way that you can see, that's tangible, that you can feel. It's great. It really is, and I'm almost done. I've never been excited to write a review like at this much, just because like I have so much to talk about. I have so much to say. It's a very special game. I've also been
TJ, what's
playing
the review for?
Game Critics.
Okay.
Game Critic. I'll send you a link to like my profile, so you could read everything. You can read. I wrote something about Life is Strange 2 in a bigger piece. I can send that to you. I'll put in the chat later. But and then also I'm still replaying God of War. Still on New Game Plus. This is the kind of game now where I'm like, now that I'm kind of like phasing out reviewing, phasing out freelancing, for this new job. This is the kind of game that I'm playing, playing this on a big 4K TV, or realizing, oh yeah, like this medium can be fun. It doesn't have to be the source of like of pain and conflict and just like, I can just play a very nice looking game. Is it shallow? A bit, yes, but I'm enjoying it. I love.
That's
I love
the most important thing out of anything. What are you talking about?
Like, that's the thing. It's hard for me to. My brain is broken. If I play something, and I'm like, all right, how am I going to monetize this? God of War is just
welcome
like,
to the club, boo.
look at this. Look at like God of War. I'm like, look at this like beautiful like cutscene. Look at this like wonderful like this wonderful cinematography. Man, Chris Judge's performance.
You can enjoy it. Like that's the thing. That's why I never want to be a game journalist, is because you can enjoy it without feeling the need to spot every single little detail and theme and
Well, I wouldn't want to write about this game. I think it's such a weird thing because I love it, but I also have my biases against like Sony stuff. But again, overall, just wonderful.
But that's just me with anxiety. Like I would 100% not like. That's why I don't do it, is because I would never feel like what I do is enough.
And the last thing, just so I can go really quickly or very fast, as I should say. I talk a lot about platformers here. Talk about Donkey Kong, talk about Mario, talk about Kirby. The one mascot I haven't brought up I don't think ever.
Bubsy.
No. Both of you know. No, one that's incredibly important to me.
That was perfect.
In my development as a young game fan. No, not Spyro.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Wild Woody.
Yeah, Bug for the Sega Saturn. No,
Sonic.
There we go, Sonic.
Yeah!
I got a review code for Sonic Colors Ultimate. This game rules. I never played it, even though I only owned a Wii for like that era. I only had a Wii during the 360 era.
What platform, CJ? What platform?
PS4.
PS4. Okay. Because I know that the Switch version apparently has some problems.
The thing is, even without the problems, I would have wanted this on PS4 anyway, because I'm playing on PS5 on a 4K TV. I'm like, I want to play like a new big Sonic game.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference because those cutscenes are horrible because they're pre-rendered and the resolution is terrible.
Oh,
but the
man.
game is solid. I've never played it, but I played Generations and Forces, so I'm familiar with the boost era of Sonic. I'm enjoying it. I love the environments. I love the still that gameplay where it's just, all right, just run in the straight line, have fun with it. See if you can find all these secrets in a few seconds. Go back to it and try to get a better score. I don't know if I like it as much as Generations, because I think Generations really hit in a different way. But this is fun so far. I like it. It feels good to play a Sonic game. You know what I'm saying? Everyone complains about Sega's output, but it's like, yeah, we rarely get like these big budget, Sonic, big budget for a Sonic game. But like, we rarely get these big 3D Sonic games anymore. And I'm just enjoying it. This is very much like a young CJ is happy that he can do this. And the cycle will continue in October when Monkey Ball comes out.
Oh, we gotta play that together.
I can't wait for you to talk about Monkey Ball.
I'm gonna fucking Dreamcast.
I'm gonna play as a Sega Saturn. No, when I get that review code, you guys will all know. You guys are gonna know. Like, all right, guys, I'm out for like the next month. All right, yeah, that's it for me.
And Britt, what are you playing?
Just Final Fantasy 14.
Yes.
And a little bit of Witcher, a little bit. I'm finding it hard to dedicate time to big open world games. I'm just not in the right headspace. So 14's been a good just kind of thing to relax on. And I don't do much. I'm all caught up on the story. I just do my dailies and I do my Beast Tribe dailies. I'm trying to catch up on all my Beast Tribes before Endwalker. That way when the new Beast Tribes release, like, I've had this goal ever since fucking Heavensward to have all the Beast Tribes complete in time for the expansion, and I've never done it, and I'm gonna fucking do it this time. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been playing. I'm leveling Dragoon. It's not fun.
I like playing it. I'm a machinist main, but what's wrong with Dragoon? Dragoon is a fun class.
So I think the problem with 14 and the original starting job, so there's Paladin, Thaumaturge, Monk, so Black Mage, Monk, Archer, White Mage. Am I forgetting one? Oh, Warrior.
Warrior, right.
Arcanist.
I had a huge brain fart for a minute.
I think those are the original 7. So,
Yes.
any like Arcanist, Summoner, whatever, all that stuff. So what's the problem with those jobs is they are not the same to play as they were when they first released. So the jobs are a lot more condensed. So you're not doing a whole lot. Like in the first at least 1 to 60. You got like a 1, 2, 3 combo, and that's about it. Like you add some stuff in every now and then, but for the most part, it's very boring. Like Paladin was that way, Dragoon was that way, Warriors that way. They're a fucking slog. But I'm almost 60, so I'm hoping it opens up a little more. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I have an 80 of each, and except for a melee job, I have 2 ranged 80s, so I'm trying to get a melee job too.
That's why I main machinist, because it's like there's literally like my job is simply to output damage. I don't have to worry about trying to buff the party, or I've got tactician and that's it, and it's just a small, I don't even bother with it because it doesn't do much. So my job is just a machinist has a very simple rotation. I can move and do my rotation at the same time.
That's why I loved range classes, man. They are the bees. Like I started out on Archer or Bard, and then I switched to Dancer because I love Dancer. And they're just so mobile. Like it's weird like going from that to Dragoon, and I'm like fucking getting hit by everything. What have you been playing, John? Oh wait, no, you talked.
I already talked about Tales of Arise, Brittany.
My brain sucks. What do you want from me?
I want to know what Tauriq. Well, actually, I already know what Tauriq's going to talk about because he's been playing Deathloop and he actually reviewed it for Polygon. But Tauriq, I know that we have spoken about your love for Arcane. I love Arcane as well. And I haven't been able to pick up Deathloop just yet. But you fucking loved it. You actually called it one of the best games you've ever played. Why is that?
Great review, by the way. Wanted to throw that out there.
You.
Phenomenal.
It was a great review. Yeah.
Thank you. That's probably mainly due to my editor, Mike Mahadi, rather than my writing. But yes, thank you. So it's one of the greatest games because, well, one would need to articulate why Arcane games are so excellent as the foundation before specifying Deathloop itself. And the joy of Arcane is that it feels like you're playing with a very beautiful and precisely made piece of clockwork. And it's multi-leveled, it's detailed, it's beautiful, and it's inherently working with and doing a very intricate puzzle, but also creating one yourself. And that's what their levels are always designed like. And they are multi-layered, they are deep, they are interesting, they are weird, and they set you up in these beautiful, consistently deep levels and let you just play and give you powers to play with and give you multiple ways to interact with various things and so on, and to set up traps and to set up scenarios that play out in your favor, or maybe they don't, and that's what's always fun about them. Deathloop in particular, the reason why this one works so well is that they added the time loop mechanic, which is fascinating. And the reason why this is so fascinating is that it allows you to do all of that, play it out over those 4 time periods. So something that you start in the morning, that you set up in the morning, will then come to fruition in the evening. And if you mess it up, you can start again. But then you figure out all this information and you can play around with the time of days, because everybody is going to be at the same spot at the same time doing the same thing every single time. So then you can just throw your little spanner in the work, and that's where things then tick off. And the whole point, of course, is then to eventually create the perfect murder simulation, this perfect clockwork assassination machine that you set up in the morning and then completes by the end of the day, being in the right place at the right time, setting up the right traps, that then culminates in this perfect execution. that eliminates at the time 8 people completely from morning until evening. So it encourages you to create this sort of conceptual machine of murder, and
Fuck yeah.
Sweet. Fucking sweet. Now, I've actually heard that a perfect run of this game can be done in less than an hour, but it's extremely difficult.
Yes.
Yeah, you could potentially figure it out really early. So I want to talk a little bit. So before I get to the bad news about my experience with Deathloop, I also do want to share in how much I love that game, because like the way everything's set up is like you have like your wall with all the pictures of people connected by string and stuff, and like the knowledge that you gain.
You got a literal
about
like conspiracy theory board.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you got the conspiracy theory board.
Charlie
'cause
Kelly.
You're trying to like,
Yeah, I was just
Fantastic.
saying Charlie Day.
and it's really cool. So like it's very different from how a lot of games approach like the time loop setup. Like this is it almost like usually these games that have like time loop mechanics, it's stressful because it's like, oh no, I got to get all this done in one time. Like Deathloop, it actually feels kind of laid back because sometimes you can just be getting information.
Mm-hmm.
And getting that information is really important. It's added to your board. It's contextualized. It like you constantly feel like you're making progress no matter what you do. And I think that's a key problem with like time loop based stories, especially in games, that Deathloop I think has entirely solved. And also like with immersive sims can be really daunting to people that aren't familiar with them. I have played them since, I was a kid because like they really took off when I was pretty young, but like Arcane's basically the only studio that's still making these. And they don't release all that many games. And I think this game does a really good job of...
You get a trophy for entering 0451 in the first door.
I got it immediately. Of course I got that one. And I think it's a really good introduction to the genre. Plus, also the tone is hilarious. Like the tone and art design, like it's consistently funny. Like the banter between Colt and Juliana is so fucking funny, and it feels effortless.
Juliana is she's the antagonist, right?
Yes, so she's the other playable character. You can play as either of them. If you're playing as Colt, you're trying to break the loop. You're trying to kill everybody in one day. That breaks the loop. Juliana's trying to protect the loop. And if you play as Juliana, you're invading other players.
Right, that's what it is.
That are playing as Colt.
So I'm curious, just how does it work? You pick your character like as soon as the game starts, or is it one of those things?
Well, it's basically just a selection between single player.
So what you're saying is that
it's just the title screen is just like escape the loop, protect the loop. Those are the two options.
This is the Dark Souls of first-person games.
No.
Oh, John.
I mean,
I'm not giving you that.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like, Tauriq.
I'm not even going to dignify that with any.
Look, you're the one who said you invade other players' games and try to kill them. That's Dark Souls.
So it actually kind of reminds me more of
Dark
the
Souls.
Watch Dogs invasion mechanic.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Because Watch Dogs is like the only game I've actually before Deathloop. I think it's awesome in Deathloop. Because the only game where it felt like it was really in character to do these invasions. And also with Deathloop, the way they have it balanced, it's really cool because I have been invaded a couple times and I've taken out Juliana and she has had really good weapons that I didn't have access to before. You can get those. She had powers I didn't have. I can get those. I could infuse them and now they're mine. I didn't have to do the difficult like in-game task of getting it. Like you're very much rewarded as Colt for having like Juliana invade you. Which like usually invasions feel like purely a punishment. In like Deathloop, if you can survive them, because Colt also gets 3 lives. So, and Juliana doesn't. So like, if you're playing as Colt, like, and you damage Juliana in one fight, if she isn't able to get to a place to heal, she still has the damage on her, so you can easily take her out. Like, it feels very fair. Even when you're playing against a good player, and it allows you to kind of bypass some stuff, and the rewards for it are really good.
Tauriq, how many times have you played through Deathloop now? How many loops have you completed?
Loops. So I've done about. So to figure out what's called the final loop, to figure out the end and the perfect sequence, took me about 13 hours.
That's okay. That sounds good.
Sounds
It's
fair.
like
Yeah.
it's a roguelike in that way where it's defined by how many like runs is that how it is?
No.
Not really.
It's
I would not call this a roguelike at all.
I would not call it a roguelike at all. It's so to figure out, because what I said, I think I said this either in my review or the earlier review. The key aspect of Deathloop isn't actually assassination; it's intelligence gathering. That's why I loved it, because you're finding out in the morning, where can I find this target? Are they going to be available now? Will that fit into my schedule of murder? So you're getting and then like where can I find two of them? You find out like two of them are having an affair, so that brings two of them together in one spot. So you get two of them done in one foul swoop. So most of the game is figuring that out and then pieces it all together. One of the criticisms I had, I think I mentioned this, was I was making my own murder board and figuring out like where they were and so on, because I thought that's what is going to be expected of me. I was going to be expected to remember and do it myself. But once you gather all the necessary information, the game puts it together for you with this beautiful, beautiful animation. By the way, they don't do really cutscenes. They've got these beautiful hand-drawn animations, which is so stunning. And anyway, so it sets it all up for you. It's actually my favorite animation is when Cole pieces it all together and he tells you how he's going to do it. So once you've gathered, so the information gathering takes 11-12 hours, and it's not just information gathering, it's also getting a proper arsenal, getting your weapons upgraded, getting skills and powers. So the usual sort of arcane magic powers, particularly like the famous one from Dishonored called Blink, where you leap across distances, linking, all that, that's all there. So
that's cool.
And I didn't know, by the way, I didn't know that was in the game.
Yeah.
And when I beat Juliana the first time, I got it, and I was so excited. I'm like, oh my god, I got Blink! Like I was so excited.
So it sounds like it sounds like this is
that's before you get the infusion mechanic where you can actually like carry stuff between days is introduced, and so I lost it, and then I was very sad.
So we
You gonna say, Joe?
No, I was just going to say, we do have two other topics to get to, and we're already 45 minutes in. So I want to. What's that, Justin?
So I do have a couple more things I want to say, because I've had to stop playing Deathloop because the game is so buggy that I have lost progress 5 times. In it, and like I know there's a whole big deal about like Returnal not having a save function and people losing progress in that, like when the game would update or something. And like Deathloop has plenty of ways to save. That's not a big deal, but this particular bug is set up in a way that I cannot play the game until it is fixed. So I'm playing on PS5, I'm playing in the performance mode, and every now and then the game just thinks I'm in the menus even though I'm quitting out of them.
That
like
sucks,
the
man.
background is dimmed and it's in like the gameplay view, and like the shoulder buttons think I'm scrolling through the menus. Like the text will appear on top of it. There's no way to get back into controlling the game. There's no way to quit out of it. You have to shut down the game, and that completely closes off and then you go back to the beginning of that like quarter of the day. And I've had this happen 5 times in the 3 sittings I've had playing Deathloop since it unlocked. And it's really really upsetting for me because, one, I've just been having a bad week. I love Arcane. I was really looking forward to this game and I can't play it. But also, this kind of happened to me with Prey, where there was a patch that they completely broke performance on PS4 with Prey. And it was so bad it gave me a headache. So I had to put that game on hold for like a month till they finally fixed it, because they're not that fast at fixing these things. And like it's a real bummer, because I think the game itself is so incredible, and I think it easily would have been my game of the year by like a large margin. But like I can't play it. And
sucks,
it
man.
really sucks.
What you're telling me is we're playing Splitgate then.
I thought we were Saturday.
Yeah, bro, I was like knocked out. I apologize, Britt. Anyway, I do have one quick question just for Tauriq and Justin. I don't play a lot of immersive Sims, nor do I play a lot of single player first person shooters. I'm very peculiar about that. At first my initial thing was like, all right, this probably isn't for me right now because it's those two things, right? But but the way you describe, like, again, the sort of planning stages reminds me a lot of like Metal Gear Solid 5, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Like, I put in 300 hours in that game.
That's actually a really good comparison.
So then,
you do kind of have the same level of like gameplay freedom.
That's my question. How much freedom do I have? Is it like a Ubisoft thing where they tell me you have like you can play between stealth and action, and then it's really just press square to stealth kill someone?
No, this game I think is actually probably the most seamless between like stealth and action that Arcane has done. Like, the combat is not super difficult. Like in their previous games, like you kind of had to play them in stealth.
Had to do stealth.
They weren't really designed for like real combat. Like, you could,
I fucking suck
and
at
people
stealth
have.
games.
But like.
Worst.
But the regular run-of-the-mill enemies, and even the visionaries, if you have it set up properly, aren't that hard to take out. Juliana's difficult, but there are settings. You can actually set it to friends only or turn off the invasion mechanic if you'd like.
TJ, for example, there's even powers that are specifically about combat. Like, there's one that makes you very strong, and so it's the most sort of properly balanced.
Because like, I don't mind having to switch between both. Again, that's what I liked about Phantom Pain, where it's very much like, no, you got to think on your feet. There is no way to go back if you fuck up this badly. Again, you could like plan everything. If you plan like a guard's gonna be like sleeping at this point, all of that can go to shit if like you do one thing wrong. I don't mind thinking on my feet. My sort of fear is how dynamic is it? Is it literally just like a set thing, or can things go very wrong at like yeah, that's my okay. Good to know. I'm down. I'm buying it tonight.
So we do have other topics to get to tonight. You know what's funny about this is that I was like, I don't know if we're gonna have time to talk about what we've been playing, and then we just spent like 50 minutes talking about what we've been playing. But
I didn't even mention True Colors and Iki Island, and yeah, that's also what I've been busy with. And I'm reviewing. I think next week I'm reviewing Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Oh yeah, man.
And oh shit, is that coming out next week? Really? Well, actually, you know what? Speaking of Blizzard
that leads
games,
perfectly into our next topic.
That is a perfect little segue.
I know, that's why I said it.
I know. Well done, Tauriq. Well done. You're better. You're better at this than I am, Tauriq.
You're better at the segues.
he's a master. Tauriq is a master of segues. Britt, you had a Blizzard topic that you wanted to bring up. So why don't you go ahead and let's talk about that.
A lot of Blizzard topics to bring up. So first off, like, how are we feeling about Blizzard? Like, it's been a few months since the lawsuits. Like, are we
Fuck 'em.
I mean, they got sued.
You're reviewing them, so I'm not gonna ask you your opinion.
I mean, the update on how that's all been going was they got another lawsuit brought against them for punishing employees for speaking out. So that's probably not going great.
That's how I can tell they're really sorry.
They got another lawsuit from their current employees about unfair labor charges against them, basically for speaking out and trying to make Blizzard a better workplace after everything that's happened. So a lot of the people who work at Blizzard, if it sucks being in that situation, right? Because you can't just quit your job. Like, when shit's hitting the fan, like, at the end of the day, you need to feed yourself, your family, whatever. Like, I get that. So imagine like staying there and be like, all right, we're gonna fucking change this place. I'm passionate about these projects I'm on. I'm passionate about these titles. Like, let's change it. And imagine trying to do that and then being told like, no, you can't talk about that. We're not going to talk about this. Like, if you talk about this, you're going to get fired, essentially. Of course, they didn't say that to their faces. But there is a Twitter that was made by the workers. It's called at a better ABK. And basically they were told that so Vice is the one that broke the story, I think. but basically they were being told that there is possible layoffs planned at Blizzard because of this lawsuit. So not only are they dealing with like the sexual harassment lawsuit, they are dealing with essentially just trying, like, it's everything that we talked about when we first talked about Blizzard, when the shit went down, and they're just trying to brush everything under the rug. They don't want things to change. They just want to move past it. They want to release their titles, and they want to grab people back that way. Now, saying that, there's another way they're trying to grab people back to World of Warcraft, and that is bringing in and implementing things into the game, because I think their player base has dropped something like 50% since all this started.
Fuck. Really?
Yeah. Well, so there's two caveats to that.
Well, the 50% thing wasn't that like since like 3-4 years ago? It's dropped a lot. Like, and it has steeply fallen off.
Which is why I said there's two caveats to that. One of them is the newest expansion really sucks. And it sucks so bad that when it released on beta, people complained about it. And they're like, this isn't great. Like, you need to do something about it. And this was Blizzard's response to it. Don't worry, we have a ripcord. If it sucks, we'll pull it. So rather than implementing these things into the game, they had like an oh shit pull. Like, they legit called it a ripcord. So that's what they're doing. They fucking pulled the ripcord, and they're now implementing all this stuff. Like, they're making it so it's not as grindy, so you can access like some of the content on across all your characters instead of having to individually grind each of your tunes. Like, all tedious shit that they basically gatekeeped because they wanted people to sub and keep playing. So there's one thing. That's why people quit, because it sucked. And two, obviously the harassment and the lawsuit. You know, a lot of people just can't condone that. But so right now they are in the process of implementing, like, they did the ripcord. They're doing all these updates. They just now made it to where when you ignore one person, so like Justin, let's say I block you in the game. You used to be able to sign on a different character and message me. They just now implemented a system to where it blocks that person and all their entire accounts.
I'm sorry, how long has World of Warcraft been running?
Today.
Oh, it's been going for what, almost 20 years, Britt? Like,
yeah. So essentially, people could just make troll characters, like, and just keep fucking harassing and like spamming you. They could have done that up until today. So now, if I block you, all Blizzard. Of your characters are being blocked.
Well done, Blizzard.
Today.
Well done indeed.
Great steps to take care of your community.
Excellent job. Like, so, Britt, I have to ask you, like, World of Warcraft was a huge part of your life. Like,
yes,
like
the start of this year, yes.
Right. Can you ever go back after this?
I don't think so. And it's a conversation that I think is really interesting to have with so many other people, because what do you do in this situation, right? How do you move forward with titles you love and games you've grown up loving, like Diablo? It's not just Warcraft, right? It's like Diablo, it's Overwatch, it's
Tony Hawk,
Call of Duty,
Call of Tony Hawk.
And it's how do you move forward? Do you support the devs, right? Like, there's been a lot of talk about, and Ash was on here last time when we talked about Blizzard. It's like, if you stop supporting these things, it's not the people at the top getting fired, it's the people on the bottom. Right? So how do you do this? Like, how do you move forward from here, right? And I just personally can't condone giving them money. The lawsuits are one thing, like a big thing, don't get me wrong, but the way that they followed up with it just shows, like, how much, one, they're trying to save face, And two, it's been sloppy. It's been very sloppy. Not just with the initial lawsuit, but now, you have unfair labor charges, right? Like they're trying to quiet the people who work in the office. And it's like, how is it ever going to get better? And if it does get better, when will it? And how will we know? Right.
Well, and that's kind of the conundrum, right, Britt? Like I wrestle, like I've never played World of War. I'm not a World of Warcraft guy. I don't play a lot of Blizzard games, period. So this was easy for me, right? Like,
right.
Like fucking, I'm never going to play a Blizzard game, which is essentially like, Overwatch, Diablo, and World of Warcraft. I don't play any of those, so I don't give a fuck.
StarCraft.
Yeah. Like easy for me to put that aside. It's different for someone who, people got married through World of Warcraft. Like people, because of the relationships that people have built in this game that's almost 20 years old. They've had families, they've had children, all because of World of Warcraft. Like people have made lasting, decades-long friendships at this point, relationships, whole lives together. I'm not going to judge anyone who doesn't want to quit the game because of stuff like this. I get it,
mm-hmm.
like, and there is something to be said for Britt, you hit the nail on the head, right? Like if you boycott Blizzard, I think it is a virtuous thing to boycott Blizzard. I think boycotts work. Having said that, you're also hurting the dev team who are not who have already been punished enough by the people they're working for. So, I won't judge anybody. I will applaud anyone who chooses to boycott Blizzard because I think that's a noble thing to do. At the same time, I don't feel like I personally can pass judgment on someone who's has a family because of this game now. So but then again, that's easy for me to say because I'm on the outside looking in, right? Like I have no personal connection with Blizzard or World of Warcraft whatsoever.
So here's my thing, and the thing that makes me like, if you quit playing the games, if you quit playing WoW at the beginning when all this happened, and now you're being bought back into it by all the content that you're releasing, that's the stuff I have a problem with, because that makes me question your morals, right? Like if you continued playing WoW after, good night, baby. If you continued playing WoW after the initial lawsuit broke, that's one thing. But if you quit and said, I'm done, I hate this shit, like I don't approve of that, and then you decide, well, they're releasing some cool stuff, like some cool skins, like maybe I'll go back. Like no, like that's gonna make me question your judgment and your morals if that's all it takes to get you back in. So that's my big gripe with all this, is seeing people slowly go back. Like it's the problem is still very much there, and it's not going to go away for a long time. And I'm gonna keep shouting about this Blizzard shit because I think it's important to hold. I think it's important to hold big corporations accountable for their shit, and just to try to rally people behind not being bought back to something. Like there's so much more you could go do with your time, and there's such a bigger meaning here behind this that you should be supporting instead. That don't, like, who cares? Like they just today implemented a feature to where people can't get harassed by the same person by making alt tunes. A month ago they changed it so they were going to take reports more seriously. It's just like the community on WoW specifically has been garbage for a long time, and it's not, to me, if you quit, it's not worth going back for cosmetic items. It's not worth going back for like all of the stuff that they're trying to pull to get people to come back. So don't do it.
Yeah, like I you know what, I can align myself with that, right? Like I that I can agree with. The unfortunate thing, like I just, Britt, you said something at the beginning of this conversation that really struck a chord with me, and that's who here's still mad at Blizzard. Because there are so many topics right now that are, we all talk about, we all advocate for, and then 2 weeks later they're out of the news cycle and we don't ever talk about them again. Like Afghanistan is one. You know, you guys all know my problems with what happened in Afghanistan.
The Twinfinite discourse is back.
Yeah, right.
The
like
fucking, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all
like Blizzard, you know, and you know, there are so many others, and there are all these topics that we talk about, and they're the like, you know, 6 days in Fallujah, you know, like, you know, they're the topic du jour for 2 weeks, then nobody ever talks to them about them again. And I believe we said this, like, when all this stuff first came to light, I believe right here on this podcast we said, how long is it going to be before this moves out of the news cycle and we move on to the next thing,
right?
You know,
Tauriq was here last time during the Sniper Ghost contract stuff, and I remember asking him, and he agreed. Everyone's pissed at Far Cry 6. I promise you, in that review, when we see how many fucking white names are on the reviews or on Metacritic, no one's gonna mention anything that should be mentioned. No one will. No, all this outrage now. I'm not saying it's performative, but at the same time, who's really gonna like speak up when it's like actually time to, like, I don't know. It's exhausting.
And that's one of my reasons why, like, you know, we in the group chat, I was like, look, I don't want to beat a dead horse and I don't want to bring it up again, but I think it's really important that we keep addressing, especially if there's updates, right? Like, it's not just about the harassment. You know, it's an ongoing story, and I think it's kind of at that point now where it's like, oh, fucking, there goes Blizzard again, that like people aren't surprised and they don't care as much. But I mean, I definitely think it's important, and I think if the workers are trying, then we as consumers need to try and help them and do what we can.
And I also do just want to kind of reiterate that I have so much respect for the people that are still working at Activision Blizzard despite all of this.
Yeah.
For the work that they're putting in, like the fact that they're actually going through legal channels and like documenting things and getting actual results from the state of California and stuff. It's a big fucking deal. Like, I don't think people realize how big that is, that enough people are going and they're doing something about it. And so even though, you know, I'm not planning on buying any Activision Blizzard games anytime soon, you know, I went ahead and I deleted Warzone and Call of Duty and everything off my PS5, and like that's a series I've played since the very first one came out. Like,
Overwatch was like one of my fucking just game I could easily hop back, like didn't matter how much time in between, like that muscle memory was there and I could just hop back in and just love it.
Yeah,
and
but
you know,
I just want to say I have so much respect for these people and the work they're putting in, regardless of how much pressure the executives are pushing on them, how much pressure management is putting on them, how much pressure some of their toxic fans are even putting on them, just like shut up and go to work kind of thing. Like, they're doing what needs to be done. Whether, I mean, it's sad to say, but we don't know if that'll actually go anywhere. But the fact that they're putting in this work is such a big deal to me, and I respect.
And that they're not giving up even when their job is on the line. Like, right, it's one thing to quit because of these things are happening, but if you lose your job because you're fighting for something that's right, completely different.
Tauriq, did you have anything that you wanted to add to this?
No, just that it's a continuation of the conversation I think that we had last time.
Right. No, yeah, no, Tauriq, you were actually on the podcast, I think, for one of these Blizzard conversations we had, weren't you? And I think it might have been the initial one. And you know,
I think it was the one after.
Was it the one after? You're probably right. In my old age, I forget shit. Britt, you said that, you know, you're sorry to bring it up, like you hate to bring it up, but you should bring it up, because if nobody's bringing it up, then what's going to happen? People are just going to fucking forget about it. People are going to stop talking about it.
Well, go ahead.
Your point about in terms of the responsibility as consumers, I think yes, but also when you have any kind of platform such as, you know, we do, and also what our job is to talk about this sort of thing, there's an even more added responsibility to keep raising it. That's also another thing. That's sort of sure, we might not expect sort of average consumer to do it, but when you have some vague platform and it's your job to speak about this industry, then you should.
I'm not gonna tell fucking a kid coming into GameStop not to fucking buy a Call of Duty game. Like, I'm not
Right.
gonna fucking tell him, hey, scab, and like flick his ear or something. Like, I'm not gonna fucking tell him that. Like, you know, that's the thing. Look, yeah, we kind of live in a bubble. Twitter is like a bubble. We think
It
that
really is.
Look, when
Yeah.
Last of Us Part 2 was out, we all thought, okay, the crunch and the leaks and the toxic comments are all gonna like tank this game. Like, no, because the average person going into a fucking GameStop or Target doesn't know anything about what's going on. They just go in there, they're gonna buy their Call of Duty, they're gonna buy their FIFA, and that's it for the year. They're not gonna they're not engaged in anything. You get what I'm saying?
It's just video games, yeah.
Exactly. Obviously, it's different here. We do have an obligation. We do have we have a little bit more to say and a little bit more. Everything we say has a bit more weight to it, right? So that's sort of the position I'm at. Like, yes, of course, we'll keep talking about this. You guys follow me on Twitter. I don't shut up about anything that bothers me. Even when I time myself to like, all right, let's see how long I can go without talking about this. I came right back. It's one of those things where, you know, again, I think it's easy for us to take a stance and to just say, all right, we're not buying this game. Like Justin, I deleted Warzone off my PlayStation. I deleted Black Ops off my PlayStation, even though I should have done that like when the game launched. I deleted Pro Skater 1 and 2. I deleted Crash 4. I deleted all these games because I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't do this. But like, again, I'm not going to shame a mom buying her kid like Call of Duty for Christmas.
But just to take your point and build on that, so a good example that I came across recently. So yes, we have. You can say we do, you know, live in a bubble or what have you, but we also penetrate the bubble because we also write for wider audiences and so on. Yeah. And I saw such a good example of this very recently with Far Cry 6. There was a preview, IGN's full preview. Far Cry 6 it's just as a preview, it's very good, but I think it was Mike who did it, but he spent a solid 3 minutes of, I don't know how long the review is, let's say 9 minutes, but spent a solid 2 to 3 minutes talking about toxicity of Ubisoft. He incorporated into his preview. He didn't shy away from it. It wasn't like a weird sort of left field. He spoke about how weird it is to have a game all about revolution and breaking cycles, and yet Ubisoft, and just like laid into it there. That's on IGN. That's an IGN preview. It's there. You can't escape his discussion of it. So I think also, to that extent, yeah, we're in a bubble, but that's where we can sort of penetrate it and normalize it. This is not okay.
Yeah, right. And obviously, yeah, like I'm not saying of course, like that is a very good point. Like I did the same when I reviewed Valhalla. First thing I mentioned was like, yo, Ubisoft fucking sucks. But again, not in a way where it's like I'm just trying to fill a word count. No, like it's literally like, yeah, no, like this is a studio struggling really hard to try and reinvent themselves after a year of bad press.
And I know.
Go ahead, Justin.
I mean, I know people that work for. I mean, you included in this, CJ. Like, you know, it's really awesome. IGN included that because IGN definitely has just this massive reach. But I know like some of these smaller sites were wrestling between, hey, do we cover this stuff or not? Because they're like trying to take, you know, principled stance versus, hey, we're a small site. We may not be able to afford to not cover this stuff, but like, you know, they're trying to at least integrate raising some of these issues in their writing and some of their stuff. And it's difficult. Like it's a really, really fine line to walk, but I do appreciate the hell out of the people that are putting the work for it.
So when I was talking to my editor about Diablo 2, one of the first things that when he was talking about it is like, yeah, before we even two parts to the review, it's going to be the review of the game, but then also how the hell do we talk about Activision Blizzard?
Yeah,
because that's going to be, so him and I have to have a long conversation about how we're going to navigate that, but it's going to be in there, like it has to be part of
that's the important thing is you're having a conversation about it, right? Like that's what matters. Like even if at the end of the day you still have to review games, like I get that, like the important thing is you're talking about it, you're discussing it, and it's not just going by the wayside, right? Like you're letting like, not even if you don't write anything about it, like you're still in that mindset of we have to talk about this, how are we going to do this, right? And that's important.
Tauriq, I know how you feel. Like, I'm making myself sick once Far Cry 6 comes out, because I know I'm like, how the fuck? Not only that, how do I handle Ubisoft stuff? How do I handle my own like issues?
Exactly.
How do I handle my own issues of like a representation in a game? Like, so I get it. I get it. I get it. It's the internal.
A big mess.
It's the biggest mess I'll ever have to clean up.
Well, speaking of Brittany, by the way, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up in regards to Blizzard? Because I don't want to steal the floor from you. This is important.
No, it's that was it. Basically, just they're trying everything to get people to come back, especially to World of Warcraft, and I just think it's shitty.
So, I agree. It is fucking shitty. And Blizzard is a shitty fucking company. Well, the people who work there are not shitty. The people who are in charge of Blizzard can go fuck themselves. Like the people in charge are super fucking shitty.
That is one thing I want to touch on real quick before we.
Sure, please.
Blizzard is tone deaf, right? Like they hear sexism, and rather than address the important things like what's going on in the company, they. Justin's laughing because I showed the pictures before.
Okay, so Britt, I had not heard anything about this until you sent me those pictures, and I cannot stop laughing.
That's beautiful. And it's funny because you sent them immediately after Justin sent like an awful like clip of like the Call of Duty beta. So it's just like piled on of just like, oh yeah, look. Here's some Activision Blizzard fuckers.
Essentially there's some old art in Warcraft, and it's just like this shitty like rendered painting of this woman, and she has some cleavage. It's not bad, right? Blizzard went and retouched up the image, brought it up a little bit in quality, and took away her cleavage. They covered her up.
Sexism is dead. Let's fucking go. Thank God Blizzard. They completely destroyed sexism in that one pit in those pixels.
Is that what they think we're complaining about? Okay, there's a difference. There's a difference in complaining that all female characters wear in the Warcraft series is bikinis. Like, nobody's saying stop wearing sexy clothes, period. We're just saying give us more options, right? Give some different representation than this girls with huge tits and like massive cleavage.
My question is that only in like an in-game painting, or does that extend into the actual like game, like the actual gameplay?
No, it's in the game. Like,
okay,
in like houses, like the bottom one that I sent. So there's another picture where it's just this woman laying in a bikini on a couch. That was in a dwarf's house, and it's fucking huge, right? So it's just like this dwarf dude, NPC, had this house, and he had this big old picture of a woman. Like, it's funny, right? Like, they changed it to a bowl of fruit.
Little pervert dwarf now has a picture of a bowl of fruit.
They changed it to a bowl of fruit. And it's just like, it's the most tone deaf shit. Like, that is not what we're saying when we're saying equality, less sexism. Like we don't give a shit about paintings that were in a game from fucking decades ago. Like, that's not the issue.
I mean,
somebody had to go like retouch it. They're like, what can we do to replace this?
Okay, who's on painting cleavage duty today?
Oh man.
I mean, so I wanted to mention this because it was funny and I kind of wanted to dunk on it, but like, I think like the redesign of Bastion they showed today is like the perfect summation of how they're trying to like talk like present themselves as a company. Like, we're better now. They're like, okay, here's our brand new redesign for Bastion. It's literally the same fucking thing, and they just put a baseball cap on the robot. The robot has a baseball cap now.
Wait, in Overwatch?
It's the Overwatch 2 redesign. It's the brand new design for Bastion.
So
that's a whole nother topic, but yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Everything with how they're trying to present themselves is like, we're different, and it's just like the same shit, but they put a hat on it.
It's just tone deaf, right?
It's just covering it up.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah. So there is one more topic that I want us to cover tonight, and it is this big NVIDIA leak, NVIDIA. So a lot has been made about this, right? And before we get into the kind of like the meat and potatoes of what's here, it's important to note two things. One, this does not mean that anything on this list is legit, right? Like these lists are pretty commonplace, right? Like for internal use. Having said that, they have confirmed, like NVIDIA themselves have confirmed that the list itself came from their servers. Like it's not something that somebody just slapped together. And there's a lot of stuff on here that I think is bullshit, and there's a lot of stuff on here that I think is probably true. And we've got kind of a roundup of, and people are still going through this list. There's a ton of fucking shit on here. And we'll go through some of the bigger things on this list, and we'll see. We'll give opinions on whether or not we think these are real, or whether or not we think these are, like, for example, placeholder titles, or something that's even more common, games that are in their conceptual phase and may never actually see the light of day at all.
That'd be a fun game though.
I'm still waiting for fucking Power Stone, man.
Okay, so let's start with the first two games we have. So I've got a list of, like, the most prominent stuff that people have managed to pull here, right? The first two are Chrono.
The list was huge, right?
It's
like
it's a massive fucking list. It's a huge fucking list.
The only one that matters is Chrono Cross, and that's
so Chrono Cross Remaster and Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster are on the list. I think those are probably true. One, because next year is the 35th anniversary of the Final Fantasy franchise, and if you're going to remaster Final Fantasy Tactics, which people have been begging for years, that's probably the year to do it. And also,
Tactics seems more plausible than Chrono Cross, though.
Well, so I would agree with you. I would agree with you, CJ, except that lately Square Enix has put a real emphasis on re-releasing their older PlayStation 1 titles. You've seen, like, the Saga franchise has got a love.
Yeah, okay.
Like, Legend of Mana, like games that you would never anticipate actually, like, holy shit, they're remastering Legend of Mana. They've already said that Saga Frontier 2 is going to be remastered. I think it's probably, like, I could see a Chrono Cross remaster, right? Like given the history of what we've seen over the past 2 years from Square Enix, I can see it happening. Especially since that's one of those games that really didn't get as much love as it probably deserved. I think that's probably true. Final Fantasy IX Remake is the next game on the list. And so I have been torn on what this means. It could be the remaster that already exists. Some people like Alex Donaldson over at VG247 generally knows what he's talking about. He suspects it could be like a Trials of Mana style remake of Final Fantasy IX, like colorful, anime style graphic visuals and stuff like that. Considering, and you know what? I normally would have brushed that aside, Britt. I know you love Final Fantasy IX, but the thing that makes me think that might actually happen is, one, again, next year is the 35th anniversary of the franchise, but also they're doing that anime, that animated series based on Final Fantasy IX. And I feel like
I am here for World of Final Fantasy fucking 9, man.
I feel
it
like
is one of the most underrated Final Fantasies, and the fact that it's even getting talked about this much fucking just fills my heart.
Right? Like you guys tell me what you think. Like if 35th year or the 35th year of the franchise, you're releasing an anime based on Final Fantasy IX, like it kind of makes sense that you would launch a remake of Final Fantasy IX in the style of, like, nothing like Final Fantasy VII remake, but a singular standalone game with,
maybe like Trials of Mana.
Right, exactly. Right. Like that, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense, right?
I guess.
Or am I just whistling Dixie out of my ass here?
I know nothing about this shit, man. I don't know Final Fantasy this and that.
Justin, go ahead, bud. You look like you got to say something.
I mean, and we know that this is the case with this list, based off of NVIDIA's statement and stuff. But, like, these lists, they leak every now and then, and, like, it's a mix of stuff that's on there just for a joke, stuff that's on there intentionally misleading, stuff that's in early pre-production that never actually gets made, and then real stuff. And it's like, it's just exhausting to speculate on, because there's probably some real stuff in here.
I think it's fun to speculate on.
Like, but also, like, if they do even happen, these things could be years and years away. I remember the first mention of Horizon Zero Dawn on PC was in, like, fall 2017 after the game came out, and that didn't release until last year. And so, like, it's just,
So like it's
people
easy.
are pouring a lot of energy into like breaking down this list and being like, oh, this is a huge announcement of stuff coming to PC.
But see, here's the thing though,
I don't
Justin.
think it's anywhere near that valuable.
I don't think we've had a list quite this big leak. And the fact that it came straight from NVIDIA's servers and they've flat out said like, yeah, that's ours. Like, you know, and they said exactly what you said, right? Is that like some of this is real, some of this is conceptual, some of this was never going to happen, some of this is just shit we're writing down. But it, you know, like a lot of the stuff on here is also stuff that has been rumored for, like, for example, the Uncharted PS5 collection is on here. This list was written before that was announced.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, I know.
there's legit shit on here.
Good
like,
shit on here.
Like Resident Evil 4 remake, we all know that's coming. That's on the list. Street Fighter 6 we all know they're going to do another Street Fighter game. Grand Theft Auto remasters.
Even some of those things that like have leaked through other means that we like can assume is existing, like Street Fighter and Resident Evil 4 remake and stuff. We don't even know if, like, even if those do end up existing, we don't even know if their list on this is legit because of how it's made. Like, it's like somebody could just be like, I'm just gonna put Street Fighter 6 on here. And then there ends up being announced a Street Fighter 6, and then in retrospect, people are like, "Oh, that means it was right," but it could have just been on here like erroneously, just like anything else, and then just turned out to be a thing that exists.
I think the reason I think one of the reasons that a lot of people are talking about this list and a lot of people are kind of taking their time to parse through it is, one, we live in fucking hell world right now, and people just need something to
that's fair.
Occupy themselves, and but two. That, I mean, Tauriq, am I wrong or what, man?
No.
Like,
you reminded me of a tweet that said, "There's no such thing as self-care anymore. It's just reasons not to scream into the void."
Yeah, pretty much. That's not wrong. But also that when that Capcom list leaked, everybody was like, whatever. But it turns out everything on that list is fucking accurate. Like everything.
No, that Capcom leak is legit.
That is a legit fucking leak. And so now,
where's my Power Stone?
Apparently it's coming to 2023, Britt.
That's too long.
That's too long. But Britt, don't worry. When you get here for Extra Life, I have Power Stone, so we'll play it.
Better.
Like I literally own Power Stone, but
Hangar 13 unannounced. Like I'm looking at. I'm sorry, I don't mean to like go like.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I'm looking at like someone on Reddit compiled like this, made an easier version of like the big stuff.
Yeah,
a new Hangar 13 game, Modern Warfare 3 remastered,
Grand Theft Auto,
Modern Warfare 2.
So the Grand Theft Auto remasters are on here. That's something that's been rumored for a bit now as well.
Those have been leaked. Sorry,
leaked. It's a combination of legit and leaked. That is my new Justin. Yeah. That's my new term for a legit leak. It's a legeek, man. We got our hand, like the Capcom list. We got a fucking legeek on our hands right here. I absolutely love that shit. BioShock 2022.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, another libertarian shooter in 2022.
Like
Let's fucking go, baby. Yo, we're gonna both sides racism again.
God.
That's what we need now. That's what we need now.
Jesus Christ, CJ.
Oh, fuck. A man chooses, a slave obeys, John.
Yeah.
You gotta pick a side.
They're gonna make an entire game based off the image of the hand with the blue check mark. That's on Twitter.
It's gonna be all about anti-maskers as well.
Oh my God, it is. Oh my God, it is. You're fucking right. Holy shit.
Is suppressing your speech worth being healthy? Oh, like that.
This one's gonna be underground.
You'll,
like instead of water, you'll have like lava and shit, and they somehow built like
the villain is gonna try
plates.
to make Rapture great again. And he's gonna be banned from Twitter. And that's
we're promoting ivermectin.
Oh my God.
But the whole time you can decide for yourself.
The is he's just like a giant horseman.
That's actually that's actually one of the choices in the game is like you have to press A for ivermectin or B for the vaccine.
Press X to rationalize.
Also, when you get vaccinated, that's when you get the BioShock powers.
Oh
yes.
Shit! I will. That
5G power.
That.
I'm into this.
Jesus Christ!
A swollen testicle.
You get a big ball. You got like one of the powers you get from the one of your testicles becomes enlarged. You can use it as a club. Like you could just beat enemies with it. Just swing that thing around your head.
That is something video games like BioShock can capitalize on, is fucking famous people using their platform very inappropriately.
Yeah, but here's the problem with BioShock. The problem with BioShock, and I'm sorry for like derailing us already, but look, the problem with BioShock is the game would tell you, no, those famous people might have a point if you just listen to them. That's the problem with BioShock.
You gotta learn to think for yourself.
That's why BioShock in 2022 is a dangerous proposition, guys. We can't have that again. We can't have that. We can't have people on both sides and things again.
Oh my god. Fucking
Tekken 8.
Tekken 8 is on here. There was
Crisis 4.
Crisis 4. Monster.
Crisis 4 is okay.
Here's the part where I was like,
okay.
Was when I saw Titanfall 3. I was like, as much as I love Titanfall, like, come on, guys, there's not going to be a Titanfall 3.
Arkham Knight ray trace like a remake. RTX. Come on.
All I see is Arkham Asylum remastered.
I'm on Reddit. Like, isn't I'm just looking at like a.
We've already had an Arkham Asylum remaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's out, and it's been out for years.
Bayonetta 3 is on here, so I know that's bullshit because that game is never coming out.
Kingdom Hearts 4, let's go, man! I can't wait to play it in 2029.
In 2020, Kingdom Hearts 4.
Okay, there's no fucking
2030.
way the next Kingdom Hearts is called Kingdom Hearts 4.
No, I think it will be, Justin. I don't think they're going to do that.
No way in hell.
It's either going to be called Kingdom Hearts 4 or it's going to be called Kingdom Hearts Wakefulness by Falling Asleep.
Black Ops already did before like single like Roman numerals.
Yeah,
for the title.
Absolutely.
Square can't do it. Square can't do it now. They're really gonna hope. They're really gonna like capitalize on that.
Now, the one thing I do want to point out about this list, and this is interesting, is that there's a bunch of Sony published titles, like God of War 2018, Horizon Forbidden West, GT7, Returnal, Demon Souls, Ratchet and Clank, Sackboy, and Ghost of Tsushima. I think a good deal of those are probably going to hit PC at some point.
Like GT, I can see.
I think most of those will. I don't think all of them, and I think stuff like
Sackboy
GT,
probably
Demon
not.
Souls,
Yeah,
Horizon. I think those are going to be 2 to 3 years from now. From
probably,
like,
yeah,
from
I can see that.
Sony has basically said it's going to be kind of a similar time frame for the turnaround for those. So like, I don't think those are things that are all getting announced like in the next couple months and releasing like next year or anything. Like that.
Some of these have just already been proven to be pure bullshit. Like Injustice 3, I think that's already been debunked. Call of Duty. Modern
Halo
Warfare.
5 PC. Halo 5 PC. 343 Industries straight up said they have no plans to bring Halo 5 to PC.
Modern Warfare 3 Remaster, Activision came out and said, by the way, fuck Activision, but Activision came out and said, no, that's bullshit.
There's no MW2 remaster. Would it make sense?
That one,
Activision is bullshit, but so is the game.
MW2.
So
exactly, they didn't. So it would make sense to just have a fucking leak for MW3 unless they're going to skip the.
No, they remastered MW2 remastered.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I have it. Like, I definitely played that game.
Yeah, someone else had a brain fart tonight, and
they absolutely did. They absolutely did.
No, the Modern Warfare 3 remaster thing is actually really funny because Activision commented on that a while ago because like somebody had like this big Reddit post about how like this year's Call of Duty was going to be so bad that Modern Warfare 3 Remastered was going to come out alongside it to like win over pre-orders, and it like broke something with like their agreement with Sony for like marketing rights or something, and like it was like this whole big thing that like caught on that like, and Activision's like, that doesn't exist. They just were just like, that's not a thing.
So yeah, like and there's one more game that I wanted to point out here.
Like 2 remastered.
Like Mirror's Edge remaster. Is there like who's asking for a mirror? Like that game didn't sell at all, right? Like there's no demand for Mirror's Edge remaster.
I mean, I'd be down for a Mirror's Edge remaster.
Yeah, Bronson loves.
I didn't like Catalyst.
Oh no, like I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying that like there's like nobody bought it. Like there's not a. I don't know who that. Yeah, exactly. There's not a.
I just think
mass.
EA is so selective about what it does a remaster for that I don't think Mirror's Edge is going to be on that list. For a while.
Yeah, exactly.
EA never had love for that franchise.
Hitman Pro.
Hitman,
the fuck are these things?
Hitman
Ultra
Pro.
Street Fighter 2. Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Ultra Street Fighter 2. The final challenge? Holy shit.
Yeah.
What were the challenges before that?
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I could see that. That I could see. That seems.
Yes.
I want somebody to find a Marvel versus Capcom 2 remaster on here and tell me it's real. That's all I want.
Give me another Ultimate Alliance.
Wake up, John. Wake up. John,
CJ,
it's not real.
just let me live.
I'm gonna flick your ear.
Half-Life 2 remastered, guys.
That shit's not coming out.
Guys, they're not gonna remaster Half-Life 2. Come on.
I can put whatever I want on this list and call it a leak. Oh, are you kidding? Like just
might as well put Half-Life 3 on there.
I wonder how many things on that list. I wonder how many things on that list are just like some bored intern, just like, I'm just gonna write some shit.
Ocarina of Time 4K remake.
Yeah, I honestly like from what I've seen, the most plausible stuff is like a mostly remasters, to be honest with you. Like Final Fantasy Tactics remaster makes sense. A Chrono Cross remaster makes sense. A Final Fantasy 9 like small scale remake makes sense. The
unannounced title by Square Enix, that makes sense.
That makes sense too. Unannounced title, right? We can all speculate on that. Grand Theft Auto the Grand Theft Auto games remastered, those make sense. People that'll sell fucking millions. But
those remasters, I'm pretty sure are real.
I'm sure they're real
because right around the time that we got those leaks, Activision started suing and shutting down a bunch of mods for the PC versions of those games that improved them quite a bit.
Especially when you consider that
telling thing that they're going to try to sell money. They're going to try to sell them to you again.
I feel like next year is when we get Grand Theft Auto 6 announced. And I feel like I feel like it's time.
Announced.
Right, it's not going to release, but I feel like
we're going to get a
that's when it gets
of a 6.
Right, exactly. But they're going to tell us that it's coming next year, and that's when you drop Grand Theft Auto remasters. Because at that point you've got Grand Theft Auto, like, not that it ever left, the kind of like, the public mindset, but that way you're like, oh shit, 6 is coming. Here's all these fucking remasters of classic Grand Theft Auto games you love, which I'm not going to buy because I don't give a shit about Grand Theft Auto.
I think they just like, I don't know if it's been silly for a while, but I don't know if you've seen like the responses to like them doing another version of Grand Theft Auto 5 from the GTA community has been hilariously angry.
It really has
they're
been.
so furious.
I can't remember
and like that community sorry, I couldn't hear you. Go ahead.
There was a journalist, I think one of Kotaku's editors captured all of the YouTube trailers. Like it was from Rockstar itself, IGN, all those sites, and the downvotes consistently. Ratio.
They're like 80 to 90% negative. And like
every stream,
always...
it's just disappointment. Some dude like, what the fuck?
There's that one video, the one guy just like, they can't keep getting away with it, and it's like new action, and he's like, it had action on Xbox 360.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've seen the trailer. They say seamless character transition and like explosive action. And we're like,
bro, I pressed down on the D-pad. I'm already Franklin in like 2 seconds. What the fuck seamless are you gonna get?
Like, who cares?
And I'll still buy it again because I'm a fucking idiot. But still, Rockstar, like, make me like put some work into it.
Like, so I think I still don't think GTA 6 is coming anytime soon, but like I think they just need to release something else, or their fans are just going to be in full-on open revolt.
Red Dead 2 next gen patch.
That's all I want. Do it, Rockstar. That's all I want. $70 right now.
That just sent me
straight up. I have no time for that.
To heaven.
So we are a few minutes past our closing time here, so we gotta start shutting it down. Tauriq, dude, this is your 3rd time on the podcast, man, and dude, you're a friend of the show. Thanks for coming on again, man. Seriously.
Oh, thank you for the invite. Always enjoy it.
And well, let's face it, you forced your way on here. I had no choice.
No, I usually do,
but it's fine.
I just demand attention from
you. Absolutely. But I'm willing to give it because you're an awesome guy. We got some cool stuff coming up over the next few months. Extra Life is going to be a big deal for us. Justin, Brittany, Derek, and myself are all going to be in one location. We're going to be doing alongside some pregame stuff the day before, a few pregame streams. We're going to do a 24-hour Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke, and we are going to let the community name our Pokemon. As long as those names are not like, fucking slurs or anything, we're not gonna, we'll take your money. Like if like we're gonna do it for donations, we'll keep your fucking money, but we're not gonna use the name. So just bear that in mind. So jokes on you, motherfuckers. We got
thanks for the 50, but we're not
but go fuck yourself at the same time. Thanks for the donation. We've also got spooky season coming up. Right. So spooky game season is ramping up. And I'm really looking forward to the remaster of Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater coming in October. Fatal Frame is one of my favorite horror franchises. So with that in mind, next week I am going to start streaming Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly right here on the channel. And Fatal Frame 2, if you have not played it, is one of the scariest fucking games ever made.
I love that game.
There are literally people who played through 1 and refused to play 2 because they couldn't handle it. Like it was, and it has been called one of the scariest pieces of entertainment ever produced. I've played it twice. I haven't played it in a very long time. And it is a fucking terrifying game.
Is it as scary as your opinions, John?
Not quite. Okay. Not quite. My opinions are even worse. But if you want a really scary fucking time, like this game scared the shit out of me, right? And I don't scare easy. So if you want to see me get scared, starting next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am going to stream every week until we finish Fatal Frame 2. Really looking forward to that. So I hope you guys show up. Does anybody have anything else before we kind of go offline here? I will take that as a no.
No.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks again for everybody who tuned in. This podcast will be up this weekend on all major podcast services. Remember to take care of each other. We live in crazy fucking times right now. And of course, as always, kindness costs nothing. We will see you next week. Take care, everyone.